There comes a time in everyone's life when the obstacles seem insurmountable. The doors appear to be firmly shut, and it feels like every prayer hangs unanswered in the silence. You try to push forward, but something intangible pulls you back. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you can sense it holding you down, preventing your progress. It's as if life has set a limit in front of you, saying, this is as far as you can go. But I'm here to tell you today that this is not the end. God has the power to break every wall standing between you and your destiny. No chain is too strong for Him to shatter, no gate too fortified for Him to open. When God chooses to propel you forward, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not doubt, not the mistakes of your past, not the voices of others, and not even the weight of your own limitations. God moves with a power that cannot be resisted. He clears the way for you, removes the unnecessary, and shifts the atmosphere so that everything that once worked against you now works in your favor. Some of you may have been waiting for change, praying, hoping, but feeling like nothing is happening. What you might not realize is that God has been at work behind the scenes, setting things in motion, aligning circumstances for His purpose in your life. The obstacles you see today aren't meant to destroy you, but to display His strength. When He breaks them, you'll know it's His power alone. Think back to those times when you felt trapped, out of options, and then suddenly a way appeared. That was God showing you that He doesn't need anyone's permission to bless you. When He declares it's your time, no one can stop it. He opens doors no one can shut, and shuts doors no one can open. He is the author of every breakthrough, the master of every turn, and the finisher of every good work He begins. Every person lifted by God faced obstacles before the blessing, and that's the pattern of faith. If the path were easy, you'd rely on your own strength. But when it's impossible, when every direction seems blocked, that's when you learn to trust fully in Him. And when you trust Him, that's when He moves. Because faith is the key that unlocks divine power. Faith makes the impossible possible. Faith invites God into your life and shows that He alone is the one who can break through barriers. Sometimes the obstacles aren't external, they're internal. Doubt, fear, insecurity, shame, these are the invisible walls that prevent people from stepping into the life God designed for them. You may think your struggle is with the enemy, but often it's your own thoughts, your own words, your own disbelief that hold you back. You keep telling yourself, I can't, I'm not ready. It's too late. And God is saying, if you will trust me, I will move you past your fear. I will push you beyond your limits. I will push you into your purpose. When you surrender the inner battle, the external barriers begin to fall. God doesn't require your perfection to bless you. He only needs your faith. He only needs your surrender. He just needs you to say, God, I trust you even when I don't understand. Because when you allow Him to take control, He moves in ways you could never imagine. He begins to break through walls that previous generations couldn't. He starts opening doors no one thought could be opened. You see, God is not restricted by what restricts you. He is not intimidated by your past or your failures. He is not bound by your circumstances. He is greater than every problem, more powerful than every delay, and stronger than every enemy. When you walk with God, you walk with power. But that power doesn't always come with ease. It comes with challenges. When God is preparing to take you into something greater, life often gets harder. The pressure mounts, opposition rises, things that once worked begin to fall apart. It's not because He's against you, it's because He's moving you. You can't stay where you are and reach where God is leading you. He has to shake up what's familiar to push you into what's divine. He has to take away what you've been holding on to so you can grasp something greater. You might be in a season where everything feels uncertain. You've been trying to move forward, but nothing is happening. You've prayed, but the answers seem delayed. You've trusted, but doors remain shut. But let me tell you, just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't at work. When the walls of Jericho stood tall, the people marched around them for 7 days. The walls didn't fall on the first day. They didn't crumble on the second, but each step was weakening the foundation. Each prayer was shaking the ground. Each act of faith was building pressure in the unseen. And on the 7th day, when the time was right, the walls came crashing down. That's how God works. You may not see it, but He's working beneath the surface, breaking the foundation of every barrier in your way. Some barriers exist not to stop you, but to show that God is with you. How would you know His power unless you face something you can't fix? How would you recognize His guidance if you hadn't walked through confusion? How would you understand His strength if you hadn't experienced weakness? Every challenge, every obstacle, every closed door is a chance for God to reveal Himself in your life. So stop viewing barriers as punishment and start seeing them as preparation. Because when God is about to elevate you, He first prepares the ground beneath your feet. You might think, but I've been through too much. I've lost so much. I've fallen too far. God specializes in brokenness. He takes what's been shattered and turns it into strength. He takes what's been delayed and turns it into destiny. Nothing you've lost is beyond His reach. When God decides to move you forward, He redeems the time you thought was wasted. He restores the years that were stolen. He accelerates what once seemed slow. That's why you don't have to fear what's behind you. When God is guiding you, your past no longer matters. What lies ahead is greater. Some people will try to stop you. They will misunderstand you. They will question what God is doing in your life. But let them talk. Let them doubt. Because when God decides to lift you, no one can bring you down. When God says yes, no one can say no. He will break every opinion, every plan, every obstacle that dares to stand against His purpose for you. You don't have to fight for recognition. God will announce you at the right time. You don't have to chase opportunities. God will create them. What He has ordained for you can't be stolen, delayed, or denied. Every barrier that rises against someone chosen by God is already defeated before it even starts. The real issue isn't the barrier, it's our belief. We often focus on the size of the wall instead of the power of God. We measure our future by what we see rather than by what He said. But faith refuses to look at the wall. It focuses on the one who can move it. Faith says this wall will fall not by my power, but by God's command. When you start speaking this way, things begin to shift. Because faith invites God to take over the battle, and when He fights, victory is certain. Some of you have been hidden for a long time. You've been wondering why it seems like no one notices your efforts, why doors stay shut, why recognition hasn't come. But sometimes God hides you intentionally. He hides you until the right moment. He hides you until the right people are watching. He hides you until your foundation is strong enough to bear what He's about to give you. Don't confuse hiding with rejection. When the time is right, God Himself will reveal you. He will break the barriers of invisibility and place you where your voice will be heard. What was hidden will be elevated, not by your strength, but by His command. When God pushes you, He does so with precision. He doesn't push randomly. He pushes strategically. Every event, every delay, every closed door, every disappointment has a purpose. Nothing in your journey is wasted. The pain, the waiting, the loss, all of it was shaping you for this moment. Because when you finally break through, you'll realize that every obstacle was a part of the blessing. Every no led to a better yes. Every delay was safeguarding you from harm. Every setback, was positioning you for success. There are seasons when it feels like God is silent. Don't mistake silence for absence. God does His greatest work in the stillness. He's working on your behalf when you can't see it. He's fighting battles you're unaware of. He's aligning people to help you at just the right time. And when the silence ends, when His perfect timing arrives, everything will change in an instant. The same God who controls the wind and the waves also controls your destiny. When He speaks, every barrier trembles. You need to understand that when God is about to push you into your next season, resistance will grow stronger. The pressure will intensify because you're on the brink of breakthrough. The enemy always fights hardest when you're closest to victory. That's why you can't give up now. You can't let temporary discomfort make you doubt eternal purpose. The moment just before the wall falls is always the hardest, but it's also the most crucial. Keep standing, keep believing, because what God has promised, He will fulfill. One day you'll look back and realize that the very barriers that tried to break you were the ones that strengthened your faith. You'll see that God was never late, never silent, never absent. He was orchestrating everything for your good. He was teaching you to trust Him, not the circumstances. He was showing you that His power isn't limited by what you can see. So hold on to this truth. When God decides to move in your life, no force in the universe can stop you. No opposition can block His blessing. No circumstance can delay His timing. God will break every barrier to move you forward. He will remove what needs to go. He will open what needs to open. He will shift what needs to shift. And when He does, you'll know it was His power, His mercy, and His perfect timing that carried you through. The walls in front of you today won't last forever. The gates that are closed now will open when God says it's time. The resistance that feels unbearable will soon become your testimony. You will rise from this season stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before, because every barrier that once held you back will become the foundation beneath your feet. God will use what tried to stop you as the very thing that lifts you. Trust Him even when it hurts. Follow Him even when it's unclear. Believe Him even when it's delayed. Because the God who called you has already prepared the victory ahead of you. He's not waiting for your perfection. He's waiting for your surrender. And once you give it, the barriers will fall. The path will open, and you'll step into the purpose that was written for you before you were born. The world may see obstacles, but God sees opportunities. The world may see endings, but God sees new beginnings. The world may call it over, but God calls it preparation. Every barrier has its breaking point. And when God's hand moves, that breaking point arrives quickly. So stand strong, stay faithful, because your breakthrough is nearer than you realize. God is about to dismantle every barrier to push you exactly where you need to be. There will come a time in your life when you understand that the obstacles before you were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to reveal how powerful God really is. Every wall in your path is an opportunity for God to show His strength. Every delay, every disappointment, every rejection carries within it the potential for divine action. You see, God allows barriers not to discourage you, but to teach you dependence. When everything is stripped away, when human help fails, when resources run out, when plans fall apart, that's when you'll clearly see God's hand. That's when you learn that your success isn't found in your strategies, but in your surrender. When God decides to move you forward, nothing stays the same. The things that once felt comfortable will begin to shake. The people who once walked with you may start to drift away. The places that once brought you satisfaction will no longer feel like home. That's because God is transitioning you. He's removing the familiar to make space for the extraordinary. You can't carry old habits into a new season. You can't bring yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's miracle. When God breaks barriers, He also breaks attachments. He frees you from everything that limits your growth, everything that drains your strength, everything that distracts your focus. He clears the path because what He is about to do requires your full attention and unwavering faith. There are times when God's push feels painful. The road may narrow, the pressure may increase. But don't mistake the pressure for punishment. The pressure has purpose. It's the sign that something powerful is being birthed. Just as a seed must crack before life emerges, you too must go through seasons of breaking before breakthrough. God is not trying to crush you. He's trying to release you. He's breaking through the hard shell of fear, doubt, and limitation that has held you back. You are not being buried. You are being planted. And when the right time comes, what God planted in you will rise with strength, unstoppable and undeniable. God knows exactly what it takes to push you into your destiny. He knows how to stir your spirit when you've settled too long in one place. He knows how to disrupt your comfort to awaken your calling. Sometimes He removes what you thought you needed so you can realize that all you've ever needed was Him. Sometimes He closes doors because He knows the path beyond them would harm your soul. Sometimes He delays your answer because He's still strengthening your faith. But when the time is right, when your heart is ready and your character is refined, God will act swiftly. What took years to build can change in an instant when His hand is upon you. There are people who will look at your journey and not understand it. They will question why things are taking so long, why some doors remain closed, why you seem hidden while others are celebrated. But you must know God's timing is never like man's timing. He works in divine order, not by human schedules. While others may rush ahead, God may hold you back for a reason. He's building depth within you. He's ensuring that when He lifts you, you won't falter under the weight of the blessing. God isn't merely pushing you towards success. He's shaping you for significance. He's developing the strength, humility, and endurance needed to carry what He's about to place in your hands. When barriers rise, faith must rise even higher. Faith isn't believing only when it's easy. Faith is standing firm when everything seems unclear. It's declaring that God will make a way even when the evidence suggests otherwise. Faith doesn't ignore the presence of walls. It declares that those walls will fall. When you walk with faith, you stop focusing on the size of your problem and start magnifying the greatness of your God, because the size of your faith determines the scale of your breakthrough. When you believe that God can break barriers, you activate His power to do so. Many of you are standing at the edge of something new. You can feel it deep within you. You know something is shifting, but you can't fully see it yet. That uncertainty isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you. God rarely reveals the full journey at once because He wants you to trust Him step by step. If you could see everything ahead, you wouldn't need faith. But faith is what moves mountains. Faith is what parts seas. Faith is what turns the impossible into the inevitable. And when you walk by faith, barriers are no longer obstacles. They are simply signs that you're drawing closer to divine fulfillment. There are times when God will isolate you, not because He's forgotten you, but because He's protecting you. He will pull you away from distractions so you can hear His voice more clearly. He will separate you from certain people, not because they are bad, but because they can't go where He's leading you. When God is preparing to push you into greatness, He often does it in private. The transformation happens in silence. And when He's finished, the world will see the difference. The same people who once doubted you will have no choice but to recognize the power of God in your life. God's push doesn't just elevate you, it refines you. It reveals everything in your heart that needs to change. It teaches you patience, humility, and perseverance. It tests your obedience when the path is unclear. Because if you can't trust God during the waiting, you won't sustain what He gives you in the winning. The waiting season is not wasted. It's where God builds your foundation. Every tear, every unanswered prayer, every closed door is strengthening your faith. And when the breakthrough comes, you'll understand why it had to unfold this way. Don't ever forget, God is not limited by your circumstances. You may feel surrounded by impossibilities, but God isn't bound by human limitations. He can raise you in the middle of the wilderness. He can promote you when no one supports you. He can open doors where doors don't exist. God's favor isn't dependent on approval from others. His power doesn't require permission. When He says move, everything around you must align with His word. Barriers that have stood firm for years will crumble in moments. Mountains that once obstructed your view will melt like wax at His command. You must stop underestimating what God can accomplish through you. Too many people allow the fear of failure to hold them back from moving forward. But God didn't create you to live small. He placed within you the power to rise, to conquer, and to transform. The same God who created the galaxies and commands the stars has breathed life into you. That means no barrier can keep you down permanently unless you surrender to it. Stand tall and declare that no fear, no past, no failure, and no force can stop you from what God has promised. You were created to overcome. You were designed to rise. You were made for divine victory. When God pushes you forward, He doesn't just remove obstacles. He also accelerates what belongs to you. What should have taken years will now take months. What seemed impossible will become unstoppable. You'll see connections appear from nowhere. Opportunities will arise unexpectedly. The things you once chased will begin chasing you. That's the power of divine momentum. God's push is not gradual, it is mighty. When He moves, everything changes. There will be moments when resistance will feel stronger as you get closer to your breakthrough. That's not a sign to quit. It's confirmation that you're nearing the finish line. The enemy always increases pressure when he knows God is about to release a blessing. But God has already declared victory. What's written in your destiny cannot be erased by opposition. You must learn to praise in the midst of pressure, to stand firm when the winds are fierce, and to keep walking when you feel exhausted, because that's when God steps in. When you reach your limit, His strength begins. Every barrier that has kept you bound will serve a purpose in your story of triumph. God never wastes pain. He never forgets effort. He never overlooks faith. The nights you spent weeping, the days you spent fighting, and the moments when you almost gave up, He saw them all. And now He's saying, it's time. Time for you to rise. Time for you to walk into the promises He has prepared. Time for you to leave behind the weight of fear and step into freedom. The same hands that held you in the valley will now lift you to the mountain. When God pushes you, you won't need to explain yourself. The evidence will speak louder than your words. People will witness a transformation they cannot deny. The very ones who once doubted you will see God's power through you. They will wonder how the barriers that stopped others couldn't stop you. And you will know it was because God Himself cleared the way. His power is not confined by logic. His will overrides circumstance. His timing redeems every delay. So rise up today with renewed confidence. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck. You are not powerless. You are standing on the edge of something divine. God has seen your struggles, counted your tears, and measured your endurance, and now He's ready to act. He's ready to push you through every limitation, through every fear, and through every wall that once stood between you and your purpose. You are about to see that when God moves, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in His way. The winds may blow, the waves may rise, but the one who places their trust in God will remain unmoved. Stand your ground, keep your faith strong, and stay firm in the belief that no barrier can outlast the will of the Almighty. Because when the appointed time comes, the very walls that surround you will fall, and the path ahead will open wide. You will walk through not by your own strength, but by His command. And when you do, you'll realize that every delay, every struggle, and every barrier was merely a setup for the divine push that moves you into your destiny. So now, the question is before every heart listening, will you let the barriers define you, or will you let God break them? The walls that surround you are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a greater revelation. God is not calling you to live in defeat. He is calling you to rise, to walk by faith, and to believe that His hand is mighty enough to lift you from every limitation. This is not the time to shrink back in fear. This is the time to stand tall in faith, to trust that the same God who brought light into darkness can bring purpose into your pain and direction into your confusion. Lift your head and look ahead, because God is not done with you. He has seen every struggle, every disappointment, and every silent prayer you whispered when no one else was listening. He has counted every tear and remembered every sacrifice. And in His perfect timing, He will turn it all into something beautiful. You may not see how, but He already has a way prepared. You may not know when, but His timing is perfect. You may not feel strong, but His strength will carry you. All He asks is that you hold on, that you believe even when the evidence seems against you, and that you trust His plan is greater than your understanding. Let this truth sink deeply into your spirit. No power can stand against the one who walks with God. No voice can curse what God has blessed. No obstacle can outlast His will. When He decides to move, nothing in heaven or on earth can resist Him. So rise up with courage. Let go of the doubt that has weighed down your heart. Release the fear that has whispered lies to you. Speak faith into your life. Declare that God will make a way, that He will break every barrier, and that He will push you into everything He has promised. Let every breath from this moment forward be filled with trust in God's power. Step into tomorrow, not with hesitation, but with holy confidence, knowing that God is already ahead of you, clearing the way and lighting your path. The same hands that created the mountains are guiding your every step. The same voice that commands the thunder is speaking peace into your storm. The same God who spoke the universe into existence is at work in your life right now. So move forward, live boldly, believe deeply, and let your heart be anchored in faith, your mind shielded by peace, and your spirit energized by unwavering trust. Because when God is with you, barriers become stepping stones, pain turns into power, and delays transform into destiny. This is your call, to walk with a faith so firm that nothing in the world can shake it, to hold on to God so tightly that no storm can break it, and to live each day as a testimony that no barrier is greater than His will. And as you move forward, remember this: God has never failed, and He never will. What He has promised, He will bring to pass. What He has started in you, He will finish. So stand firm, keep believing, and let your life be a testament that when God moves, every barrier falls and every purpose is fulfilled. Walk in this truth. Live in His strength, and let your heart find peace in the everlasting power of God.